If you have a state and you want your app to update only the parts in the UI that are dependent on the parts of the state that actually gets updated and not the whole UI, you can put a signal inside another signal on the small things that you want to be reactive, so that the only parts of the UI that updates are the ones that actually depend on the change signal. That's great! Now we can continue making reactive apps with very complicated states. We just have to add this and that and this is not sustainable. Insert SolidJS Stores. The main use for a store is to basically allow your app to be reactive on small parts of your state without needing to explicitly create signals for them. Same with signals, the return value of the createStore function is an array that contains the getter and the setter. But unlike signals, the getter is not a function. To get a value, you use the getter. To set a value, you can use the setter like this or like this. You can put arrays and objects inside a store, but the limitation that it has is it will not be reactive on classes. You can put getter functions for calculated values inside the initial state and access them like this. This is not a cached value, so every time you access this function, it will be rerun. If you want it to be cached, use createMemo instead. When setting the states, objects are shallowly merged, meaning with this previous state and you call setState like this, the output will merge what you put in the setState function with the previous state and come up with this new state. You can also update the state using paths. With paths, you can specify the object property, the array index, the array indexes, the array range, and you can use a filter function as well to provide the path to where you want to set the state. The last parameter of the function would then be the same as before, the proposed new state. Stores have some helper functions as well. Produce lets you change your state in a direct way. Reconcile allows you to pass a large new state and still get granular updates. It will compare the old value with the new one and find which parts of the state were changed and only apply updates to those. This is useful for updating your current state with the state from an API response. When you create a store, the getter is not the actual value but a proxy to the value. You can still use that in your application, but if you want the raw data without the proxy, you can use unwrap. Now a question might arise. Why do we have to suffer having a separate getter from a setter? Well, you don't need to suffer because Solid's got you. createMutable gives us only one value that we can directly mutate, and our application will be reactive without needing to use getters and setters. In the initial value, you can add a function that will return a calculated value, and you can also add a function that can update the state inside it. But ask yourself, if this was already possible in the beginning, why did they have to make getters and setters? That will be your homework for today. Thank you for watching. If you found the content useful, please to consider leaving a like and subscribing.